Hello and welcome to
Burns
the
are
Tackle
very,
Podcast.
very
I'm
bad.
Joey, here with George and Ryan. And before we start, I'm just going to give a quick spoiler warning to anyone that hasn't watched Doctor Strange Multiverse of the Madness yet. This video, we're going to be trying out a new format in a video MP4 type thing rather than just audio. And we're just going to dive right in and go to what you would rank the movie. George, how do you rank it?
I would give it an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10. For me, it was one of Marvel's best movies and a really fresh take on Marvel horror.
I personally I give it about a 9.4 out of 10. I really liked it, and there are a couple of things I personally would change. We'll get into that, but I really liked the movie, and I thought there was a lot of unnecessary hate about the movie.
And I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. And I actually think it was the greatest Marvel movie,
That's
greatest MCU movie.
If the rankings are so terrible,
Nope.
it's
Right, we can go right into our favorite scene. Anyone want to go? Favorite scene in the movie?
My favorite scene was right after Wanda goes through the Illuminati members and they're breaking America Chavez out of the jail cell, and they're trying to chase after. Wanda's chasing after them when they're looking for the Book of Ashanti, and that's just such a great scene because it's like the hallway in the basement, and that's like pure horror right there. And Wanda, like they shut the door, and then Wanda comes after them. That was definitely my favorite scene.
George? Yeah, mine was when Wanda just wiped out the Illuminati. I mean, each kill is like pretty different, and it starts off with the most like insane Marvel like fatality of all time when Black Bolt gets his mouth taken, and then he implodes on himself, and really that was like kind of the first like, oh my god, this movie's gonna be crazy for me.
I actually had two favorite scenes. So my favorite one was probably when Professor
I
X.
choose two.
When Professor X, I couldn't choose. Professor X and Wanda were doing their mind games, and Professor X couldn't help Wanda up from her old when her old town got ruined from the bombs and stuff, and Professor X couldn't help her in time, and like the red cloud came, and Wanda snapped his neck. That scene was insane. The scene was insane. And then I would also say when Wanda is coming back to the fort, what's it called?
How you gonna pick two?
And then Wanda steps into like the mirror dimension.
Kamar-Taj.
Kamar-Taj.
Wanda attacks Kamar-Taj to try to get America Chavez, and she steps into a trap. And then while she's in the mirror dimension, she tries to use the reflections through the puddles.
And then when she breaks out.
Yeah, that scene was just so cool.
Then there's one spot where her eye was almost
yeah, you could see her eye.
That was amazing.
All right, how about underrated scene?
My most underrated scene is one that I don't really think it's talked about at all, and it's towards the beginning of the movie, right after we see like Doctor Strange kill off that like monster that was created by Wanda. And then we cut to Wanda. This is like her first screen time of the movie. She's at the time we don't know, but she's having a dream about her kids and living like a perfect life. And then it just cuts to reality. All the color of the frame cuts out. It's just her waking up and living like a normal, like boring life.
And there are definitely like different colors. Like the filter was like a lot more dull.
A
lot dull colors when she woke up.
That's what stood out.
And then when she was
in her dream, there's like bright colors and the sun and everything. What about you, George?
For me, it'd be when it's not an underrated scene, but it's an underrated moment because like when Doctor Strange and America Chavez travel through dimensions, there's this one like quick second where she passes through the Living Tribunal, which is basically the like governmental system for the whole MCU as a whole, and it's basically the judge or like the galaxy's judge or whatever, and he's like a huge figure in MCU comics and Marvel in total. He even held a trial against Thanos and Doctor Strange one time in the comics.
So how is he different from the Watcher?
Because he actually acts on things. He's like a judge, basically.
Is he like only like America Chavez, like only one version of him?
Yeah, he's like one of the biggest governmental bodies in Marvel.
Right, so for mine, I'm gonna have to say we can both agree on the Book of Vishanti being like the complete opposite of the Darkhold.
Yeah,
So in the Darkhold, there was a picture of Wanda, and in the Book of Vishanti, if you could zoom in, you could see a star, which I think symbolized America Chavez.
yeah,
And
probably.
when Doctor Strange saw that, he knew that America Chavez needed her to use her own powers rather than Doctor Strange stealing the powers from her, which is what the alternate Strange tried to do in the very first scene of the movie.
And that's how like they get Wanda to realize that she was like wrong and corrupt under the Darkhold.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about we talk about our criticism for the movie?
For me, I would say the movie's like too short. Like, I just wanted more. Like, I wanted it to be a 3.5 hour movie, if anything, 3 hours. But besides that, that's the only criticism I have.
Yeah, going off what George said, it was short, and by making it short, it made the movie really fast paced and didn't really
Which is good though.
It
Which is
didn't.
good.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing.
It made it too fast paced to where
Too
the
fast-paced?
to where the viewer didn't have enough time to really soak in what happened before moving on.
I'd rather have
No,
that than
hold
Batman.
up.
Go ahead.
That's just completely hypocritical because your criticism for the Batman movie was that it was
Yeah.
too slow, and now you're saying this is too fast.
I'm looking for like a right in between.
Yeah. Okay, but I'd rather have too fast, where it's like action, 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 than Batman, where it's so slow.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
agree. But another criticism, like this is like more of like a counterpoint. Like a lot of people were saying, "Oh, if you went into this movie expecting a lot of cameos, you probably didn't like it." The thing is, it's a movie all about exploring the multiverse. You would expect there to be a lot of.
They
cameos.
did give cameos, like
That-
what George
okay.
just said. What George just said about the governmental system, like
I would say that is true about the cameos thing, but it's fine if it's like that's not needed in this. You don't need there to be 1,000 cameos.
exactly,
from
and
different
we'll probably
people.
talk about this a little more as we wrap up the movie review. But I think it just opens up so much for future movies that like cameos right now are needed. But my criticism would probably say like the uncertainty of Wanda's powers without the Darkhold from in future movies if she's still alive. Like, do you think she's gonna be as powerful?
The actor has a 7-year contract.
No, I'm saying
she's coming back.
I'm
in
saying-
something
she's probably alive, but like, do you think she's gonna be as powerful?
definitely because she
Without
still
the
has her
Darkhold?
powers.
Right?
The Darkhold didn't like empower her; it just like gave her new spells, basically.
And I've also got to say, like, I feel like a third eye on Strange from Earth 616 just wasn't needed.
Why?
I think that was them trying to do too much.
It wasn't.
I think it's them trying to symbolize that the powers of the Darkhold is still going to be with Strange, even if the Darkhold in every universe is destroyed.
Yeah,
like,
but
I feel like it's just not needed.
Another thing,
it has to be because that it symbolizes that the Darkhold is still with them. They can't just like
Okay,
get rid of it.
what are they going to do with that?
Make it prove that this is the best, like Strange. Like we have the
like
a
the
different
strongest
type of-
version of
yeah.
And that, well, one other thing, to what I remember, I don't think we got like a true 1v1 fight, Strange versus Wanda. And I
Yeah,
think
because
we
Strange
kind of
would
got
lose.
robbed of that.
But
Oh, okay,
Strange
I don't
would
care
lose.
if he would lose. I would at least like to see the attempt. Strange like put up a really good fight with Thanos in like Endgame or
And
Infinity
so did
War.
Wanda
Yeah.
against Thanos in Endgame. Like,
See,
Wanda
I-
almost beat Thanos by himself.
Like I would have liked to see like a 1v1. No, I don't care. Like neither of them had to die from that fight, but I would have at least like to see
I
them
don't know.
fighting.
I wouldn't have
That would
changed.
be-
I wouldn't have changed any fight.
That would have been plot shield though. If they fought truly head on head and Strange didn't die, like that would just be them protecting the main character of the movie.
Yeah. All right. We can move on to what makes this movie different every other MCU movie, and I think we can all agree it's like the horror element.
Yeah,
Oh, definitely.
Like, I don't know about you guys, but this is the first Marvel movie I've watched where I actually got jump scared. It was like the scene Ryan was talking about earlier, where they were trying to find the Book of Vishanti in the alternate universe, and Wanda was chasing them down the hall, and then Wanda kind of like popped up out of nowhere after they closed the door. And yeah, it was definitely a lot more horror than every other movie we've seen before. All right, now we're gonna get into our MVP, Rookie of the Year, and Most Improved, and Least Valuable Player awards. So MVP, who do you guys have and why?
MVP. I have Doctor Strange, like the original MCU version, just because like all the other Strange variants we've seen throughout the movie were either evil or like the one we see in the opening scene, he was good, but then tried to do something bad at the end by taking America Chavez's powers. So I feel like our Strange we know and love is different because he didn't try and do that to America Chavez at the end. He knew he just trusted her to use her powers and to defeat Wanda. And without that, Wanda probably would have like still been under control of the Darkhold.
For me, it would probably be Christine Palmer because without her, if she wasn't in this movie, Wanda would have killed them back at the Illuminati HQ, and then Strange would have got taken over by all the spells of the Darkhold too.
Okay, I think Palmer is more like a role player. Like I wouldn't give her like
like an Al Horford type player.
yeah, like come on.
Big Al.
All right,
30 piece,
all right.
boy.
I'm done talking. I shouldn't have even brought that.
30 piece, boy.
But
We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Future episode.
my MVP is America Chavez because she went through a character arc in the movie and finally like got to control her powers and took Wanda back to was it Earth 818 or something like that?
It's 838.
838 and showed what it would be like if she were to kill the Wanda from that universe and take over. And you can see like the kids were scared of her and wanted their actual mom. And that was like very emotional, even for like the watchers, like of the movie. Like, and then obviously Wanda from Earth 616 got like really emotional and asked for forgiveness. And then Wanda just knew it wasn't worth it anymore and destroyed every Darkhold. And without America Chavez clutching up at the end, there would be no destruction of every Darkhold.
That's fair.
Right? How about Rookie of the Year?
I think we all have.
Right?
Yeah.
We've all got America Chavez. Most improved player. Which character improved the most from the beginning to the end, and why?
Beginning.
I need to think. Go ahead and start, Joey.
All right, I said Doctor Strange. Well, I feel like this wasn't really from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie, rather than like from the start of the first Doctor Strange movie to the end of the second Doctor Strange movie. Like getting over the loss of Christine Palmer and accepting that their marriage probably wouldn't work out, because you can see from like other versions of Doctor Strange, specifically from What If, like the other Doctor Stranges would get too attached to Christine, which would ultimately cause the incursion.
No, I can agree with that. But I think in terms of pure power, Wanda has got to be my most improved player. I know she was under control of the Darkhold, but she killed like 5 of the universe's strongest like key members in a matter of minutes. Wanda's got to be my most improved player.
And then when you talk about Doctor Strange, not only did his like abilities change, his morale changed. Because in the start of like Infinity War Endgame, he would say I would trade lives to save the time stone, stuff like that. Like your life matters little. And in this movie, we see so many different strangers trying to take America Chavez's power instead of empowering her, like our Doctor Strange did.
Yeah, I agree.
But my most improved would probably be Defender Strange, because from the start of the movie, he's like normal Doctor Strange, but by the end of the movie, he's like a zombie, mummified.
Or that was because of regular Doctor Strange.
It still was his body though, so it counts.
All right, what about least valuable player?
All right, mine was Mr. Fantastic from the Illuminati, because he's supposed to be the smartest man in the world, yet he goes and tells Wanda that Black Bolt like can kill her by just talking.
Okay, but he probably didn't know that she could just erase his
I don't
mouth.
care.
Like,
Why
If he's,
would you
if he's
tell her
the
that?
smartest person in the MCU, he should know that. That's
how should he? There's no other Wanda.
I don't
like
even
that.
care. Like, this is common. Why would you say that to your enemy who could kill you right then and there?
So the enemy could be feared. I mean, I feel like Reed had a huge part, because when he says, I have a wife and kids, that also probably sets up King, who's a descendant of Reed Richards. And I think his name is actually Nathaniel Richards. But he's one of the grandchilds of Reed Richards. So we for sure know there are like multiple Kings out there.
my least valuable player was Wong,
Terrible.
because
Terrible.
I know that
Absolutely terrible.
I know Wanda was torturing his family and friends. Still, imagine how the movie would have gone if Wanda didn't go to the fortress.
She would have found it. eventually.
How do you know?
She would have found her way.
How do you know that?
She would have found her way.
Oh, I know.
She killed off the Illuminati in 3
All I'm
minutes. She
saying
would
is-
have
all I'm
found her
saying
way.
is, what if they destroyed the Darkhold and she couldn't find the fortress?
They did
Like,
destroy
the
the
movie's
Darkhold.
over.
She would. She like literally could rewrite your reality. So eventually, she would find a way to go inside somebody's mind and find the Darkhold.
I also like the idea that they incorporated of sleepwalking because
Yeah,
that
was
wasn't
neat.
something that they brought up at all in any like past like movies or TV shows. And I thought they did a really good job of explaining that and making like the viewer know how it worked and all that. And it was a big part of the movie too.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right, now we can go into just post-credit scenes
Oh
and then where we
my
think this
God.
movie will go.
I know George knows a lot about that. So let him go.
So I think in the first post-credit scene, we see Clea, who's the niece, I think, of Dormammu, and Clea is taking Doctor Strange to the Dark Dimension. For what, we have no clue. It could be to stop incursions. And I just recently watched the first episode of Loki again, and the more I think about it, the more I think Multiversal War is definitely coming. Because there's different, like, a whole bunch of variants now in the MCU, and Doctor Strange could be one of the most powerful Stranges. So she's probably getting his help and others' help to stop a multiversal war from occurring in total, really.
I agree. How about that second post-credit scene?
That one was actually funny.
It was funny, but not with the weight.
Debatable.
All right, where do you think this movie goes from here? Like, what future movies? We were talking about Ant-Man, Quantumania.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
I think that'll be the first movie we see that directly connects to Doctor Strange. Because you guys were talking about how Kang is already confirmed to be in it.
Yeah.
Um,
I think we could also see the Fantastic Four in that because
like a Fantastic Four movie or Fantastic Four in Ant-Man.
in Ant-Man.
Okay.
Because when they were coming back from the Quantum Zone, we saw a small little town or city, and that could be where the Fantastic Four are right now, and they're just trapped in the.
And I think that could also explain like where they might get their powers.
Yeah,
from.
if they're trapped in the Quantum Zone
Yeah.
or whatever it's called.
Because I think like if you stay in the quantum realm, like,
Yeah. And then like Kang is also gonna definitely appear in that movie, so they're gonna need backup to stop Kang because Kang isn't just gonna be a one-time thing.
All right, and we were actually talking about this right before we aired, but in Phase 3, the second Ant-Man and the Wasp directly fed right into Infinity War. So do you guys think that this Ant-Man Quantumania is going to lead directly into the Phase 4 final project?
Definitely.
Of which we are pretty sure will be Secret Wars.
But I don't think this will be Phase 4 like final project. Like in Phase 3, we had like one half big villain, and then the other half big villain. I think Phase 4 big villain will be Galactus, but right now it's probably going to be King. Because Phase 4 right now, if they just like did Secret Wars and it was over, that would be like too short for Marvel. I feel like. So it'd
I
probably
mean, they still have a bunch of other projects coming, like Thor.
So you think Kang is gonna be like the Loki of like Phase like 2 or 3, and like Galactus would be like a Thanos?
Yeah. That right there. Because Galactus is like, you have to like bring like everybody to stop Galactus. And the only way they're doing that is through multiversal, I think.
All right, let's get into our 2022 Marvel movie rankings.
All right.
I personally have it ranked as number 1, Multiverse of Madness. Number 2, No Way Home. Number 3, Shang-Chi. Number 4, Black Widow. And number 5, Eternals.
Eternals was
I
good.
think it's a really good ranking. George, I want to hear yours. So I already know it's bad, but let me
Stop hating on Eternals. Eternals.
Let me
just
hear.
had to
Let me
pay
hear.
attention.
Let me hear your ranking.
I know you have Multiverse of Madness as the best.
George, go ahead. Share your rankings.
Go.
I'd have No Way Home, Multiverse of Madness, Shang-Chi, Black Widow, and then Eternals. But like
All right, it
Eternals
wasn't
was
as
not
bad as I thought, but I'm very low on No Way Home compared to a lot of other people.
Yo,
I think it's one of the most top 3 overrated MCU movies.
terrible.
You guys already know. I think
That's
Thor
terrible.
Ragnarok is the most overrated
That
Marvel
is
movie.
terrible.
My ranking is Multiverse of the Madness number 1.
Terrible.
Shang-Chi over No Way Home. So
Terrible.
No Way Home is 3. I was considering putting Black Widow above it.
Oh
Right.
my Jesus.
I want to
Black Widow doesn't even have a villain. It's really.
And then they do have a villain.
it's
the
such
whole,
a
the
bad
whole Red
villain.
Room.
It's such a bad villain.
And then Eternals number 5, obviously.
Eternals is so overrated. It's a really good movie.
Obviously number
If you
5.
pay attention, it's a. Really
I did pay attention. It's just not a great plot. It doesn't tie in.
It literally ties in all of Marvel past history and mythology in one movie.
Well, I'm very excited to see how Marvel finishes up Phase 4, but that's all we got.
And what are you guys' favorite upcoming Marvel TV shows? Like upcoming Marvel projects, really.
Oh, mine is the Fantastic Four, definitely, because we haven't really seen like a good movie made of them yet, and Doctor Doom should be like the biggest Marvel villain. So, and we haven't really gotten like a good portrayal of him yet. So hopefully they do him right.
And I think in this Fantastic Four, or is it? You said it's a show, movie.
It doesn't matter, show or movie.
I think in it we can get to know a lot about Kang because, like George said, that Kang is a descendant from Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, but like he's a like very delayed descendant. So, but anyways, I think mine will be the Nick Fury Disney Plus TV show. I think it's called Skrull Wars. I forget what exactly it's called, but it's basically Nick Fury going up against the Skrulls. I think it's called Secret Invasion. I'm not sure, but it's a show on Disney Plus with Nick Fury, and it should be really, really good.
All right, I think that's all we got. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Tackle Podcast. I'll see you next time.